Hello trainers, Ganeto here, and today we're gonna do a weird video since Catacap is coming up in a few hours. So Catacap is gonna allow access to Pokemon up to 1500 CP, which means Great League format, and have to be caught during this season. Even though we do not have a lot of options, as you can see over here for the first team showcase, we're gonna see that we have some options which are spicy, and in total I have a dozen of Pokemon, so I can make a few content if you want to see more as well. So starting off with the first team out of the total 4 that I'm gonna showcase today with all those ideas, we're gonna see that we have a Clodsire up in front, while Vikavolt and Charjabug are gonna be our backline. So we are relying a lot on those community day Pokemon, and of course with the community day moves, so having Volt Switch on both your Charjabug and your Vikavolt is gonna be the main way to go. Even though another community day Pokemon actually is gonna be a core breaker of this team, I still think that you have a lot of play with this exact team, having up in front the heavy hitter and the bulky Pokemon to withstand the hits, while switching out eventually to your Charjabug to draw out that Quagsire or whatever your opponent is gonna have, try to finish it off, which is kinda weird, but still you have to try with your Clodsire, and then keep at least one shield for the closing scenario and your Vikavolt. This team will not let you down, has a lot of options, even against meta Pokemon which are not gonna be that much around, I believe, but still this is Catacap and some people tend to get extremely serious, sometimes having Carbinks, having Ligars, having Medichams or whatever, but still against a regular player you're gonna have the upper hand for sure, because this team relies a lot on the charge attacks, and some of these charge attacks can be extremely deadly. I really like how similar the backline is here, a perfectly structured ABB team that you can definitely take advantage of and rely on the closing part a lot with your Vikavolt. With that said, now let's see what we have for the next team showcase. So we keep going with a team that perhaps I will make a separate video about. We're gonna see that we're gonna use a triple starter from Paldean team, and I think that this team is gonna be extremely fun. All of these 3 Pokemon are gonna be kinda classy but have some deadly moves, and I really like the leafage that Noscarada is gonna have up in front. Incinerate will charge up very fast your charge attacks, but at the same time very slow, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of turns, 5 in total, in order to get that energy back from its incinerates, and it makes you kinda predictable, but for the closing part I think that the deadly moves of Disarming Voice and Sad Ball are still gonna be kinda clutch for the entire meta. Speaking of clutch moves, I also think that Quaquaval is also gonna be an extremely big threat for the meta, has a lot of options against pretty much anything that you're gonna face, and of course you can use Liquidation and Close Combat. Feel free to go with RLAs if you feel like you have to, but I think that with Wing Attack as your fast attack, RLAs will not be needed that much. You can still rely on your Close Combat, your Liquidation, and you're gonna be just fine, especially with Liquidation able to apply the debuff on the opponent so that the other 2 Pokemon eventually can finish off your threats. As a core breaker here, Gligar can do a lot of solid work with this team, but I'm not sure how many Gligars you are gonna see. We did not have a Gligar event throughout the entire month, but still, actually the entire season, not even the month, but still you can play even around it with proper rotation. Right, straight ahead into the next one now, and we're gonna see more Paldean Pokemon. We're still gonna have Clodsire, we have Shadow Hunter as a closer, but the spotlight is gonna be stolen by Bombirdier. You can think of Bombirdier that like a Mandibuzz, that it's kinda glacier, a lot glacier, but hits like a truck. It has access to fly, which is a unique move, and of course payback for the nuke against all those neutral Pokemon or just a ghost type to finish it off out of existence in no time at all. Also it has access to Wing Attack, but the only drawback of this Pokemon is gonna be its bulk, as we have already said, and with that in mind just take note of that, because the only bulky Pokemon on this team is gonna be Clodsire. Shadow Hunter, now if you have one, or the regular one from that Halloween event, is gonna be an amazing closer overall. I really recommend going for Ice Punch as your charge attack and Shadow Ball as your second one, but Shadow Claw has to be mainly your your main fast attack. With that said about Hunter, we're gonna see it on the next team showcase as well. Let's head now into Core Breaker of this team, because the Core Breaker is none other than Whiscash, and I think you might find a little bit of Whiscash around, especially now that this season was introduced the Shadow Barbots in Team Rocket grants. So with that in mind, I think that Whiscash is gonna be kinda around, has a lot of play at the back with those Mud Bombs, and in total it's ground typing, but also you can always rely on that Pokemon being kinda struggling against your Bombardier because of that flying attribute that Bombardier is having, but still a Blizzard can be kinda deadly. So when Shields are around, you're gonna be fine. Without Shields, this Pokemon is a complete core breaker for this team. This is my final team recommendation, trainers, and at this point, before I run to the commentary, you can always see the battle here, but it doesn't matter. I want to say that a lot of community day Pokemon are gonna be around in the meta. With that in mind, I think that Haunter is gonna have a lot of play as well as a Shadow, or just as a regular one from that Halloween event. A lot of other ghost types might be around, and of course I figured that I have got a lot of Clefairies this season. I don't know if there was around an event that I missed, but overall I had a few, and I happen to have a Clefable ready to go for this season. So yeah, I'm just gonna showcase it for the final battle as a core break, actually as a safe switch, while the core breaker will still remain that blob Pokemon, and that is of course Clodsire. As a closer, we have here Conkeldurr, which can go pretty well with Brutal Swing, with Stone Edge, with Dynamic Punch, but I recommend going with Stone Edge and Brutal Swing because Dynamic Punch is not gonna be that useful overall for the meta. I'm expecting to see a lot of ghost types due to that Halloween event, and of course Brutal Swing is gonna give you the upper hand from its community day. Stone Edge for the flyers, and of course for neutral coverage, as you're gonna see in a while here, while Haunter up in front is gonna have the previous moveset that we discussed. You need Shadow Ball, you need Ice Punch, and you're gonna be just fine. For Clefable, as a safe switch, I think that you're gonna need to have it Meteor Mash for sure, Fairy Wind as the fast attack, but as a second charge attack I recommend going for Psychic to have coverage even against its opponents that you're gonna be mostly afraid of, something like a fire type as you can see over here, but overall this team is looking pretty good. As we're heading closer to the ending of this video, I also want to mention some notable Pokemon as well, like Lantern, which had a spotlight this season, so perhaps you're gonna see a lot of Lanterns as well, but hopefully if you use something like a Clodsire you can have the upper hand. We saw at the start of the video Quagsire, the regular one, not even the Paldean, and I think that Quagsire is also gonna be around, but I did not have one to showcase for this season to build up because I already have a Quagsire, pretty good IVs as well, so I decided to make only Clodsires for this season. So if you want to replace any Mad Boy from this list with a Quagsire, feel free to do so, or just use it in general in your teams. You are not gonna regret it. It's gonna be a great investment overall for the Open Great League as well. So with that said, I think we're gonna see a few carbings around as well, but overall not that much of a big trouble. Some competitive players might use Medicham, Stunfisk and stuff like that, but we don't care at all about this. You have to use what you can for Catacap, and this season provided a few options, not many, but of course it's gonna be just a fun and entertainment cup overall for you to check out. So that is gonna be all for today, trainers. Thank you for watching and for staying till the end. Be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and I hope to see you all into the next one.